We are live. This is Coach Arnie with the Health, Love, and Life and Adventure Show with WGSN-DB Going Solo Network TV and Podcast, #1 Internet Talk Network. And there's my information as well. So let's we're gonna talk tonight. No guest, back to a solo cast. And but it gave me some time to, I'm just pulling up here my hang on a second here. It gave me a time to talk about some things that I want to talk about, and one of them is relationships. I mean, everything to me is relationships. I mean, everything. I mean, I know I'm doing a lot of stuff in the health and fitness space right now, but it really still comes down to relationships. Because if I have clients that I'm trying to encourage to get stronger, lose weight, get more mobility, or whatever they want to do, or climb, or go to do the Grand Canyon, I've got to create a relationship with them. And and I'm not saying that everybody I work with is a charming individual. And I'm not saying that I'm always a charming individual, but one of the things that I've had to learn over the last many years is how to deal with difficult people. I had a client this morning, great guy. I love him to death. I consider him a mentor. He's older than I am, and he's constantly sharing with me wisdom. And you only get wisdom through living through things and sharing things that that don't move too much. It's not an opinion; it's just wisdom. And he was getting pretty fired up about some stuff, and I cut him off in his tirade, and I said, I've just come to an understanding at my age that's not worth it to me to get so worked up about proving my point. And then he actually got a little perturbed with me, and we banter back and forth all the time. You don't want to hear what I'm going to. I go, actually, I do, but I just want I want to ask. I go, is it worth it? Is it worth it to get your point across? And I shared this with him. And I think one of the things that I do best with individuals is being vulnerable. And they go, look, this is what I used to do, or this is what I do, and it doesn't work. Trying to always make sure that you made your point, or even worse, convince somebody that you're right, that your point is right. That's a train wreck waiting to happen. And I was just kind of sharing that with him because he was just. He's so passionate, as we all can be, about things we care about, and he wanted to make his point so bad with people in his group, and I just thought that his time was more valuable than that, and that's hard sometimes to understand that we're not going to get our way, and so what I wanted to do today, in this show, is go over I wrote down a number of things that can help you build relationship with difficult people. Because we're all going to run into difficult people. And we all can be difficult people as well. Hey, look, we all want our own way, don't we? Come on. Sure we do. We all want our own way. We all want people. We want to be heard. We want attention. We want to be loved. We want to think that we're doing the best we can. We want to be all these things that we expect on the other side. So we might be the difficult person. And here we are thinking, that can't be us because we're so smart. So I understand that. And hoping, and it was funny, going back to my conversation with this person this morning, when he calmed down a little bit, we talked, and then I kind of brought it back up I wanted to finish it off. to let him know that I didn't just want him to blow it off. He goes, well, you have people skills. I go, well, yeah, as do you. And so you understand this. I said, absolutely. And so do you. That's what I was trying to say to you. You understand them. They don't understand you, because most people don't have people skills. I mean, I'll be honest with you, and I'm being generous here. 95% of people don't have people skills. So 5% do. And so if you've done some homework and you've read and you've done seminars and workshops on how to develop people skills, you're ahead of the game. But then once you know, then it's up to you to create a relationship. A relationship is up to you. It's not up to the other person. Now, in time, if the other person is not giving back, then you need to know it's time to, as they say, fish or cut bait. You need to move on. But the relationship is up to you. It's not, well, I'll have a relationship with you, but that's only if you behave in a certain way. And we'll get to that, but that's when you put conditions on a relationship, goodbye. It's not going to work. And that's a lot, but that's hard. It's hard. We'll kind of weave in some of that stuff here in a minute, in the next few minutes. So, but I think the number one thing, if you want to have a skill to be able to help you in building a relationship with difficult people, the number one skill is listening. I'm working on this all the time. My wife even made a comment the other night about listening, because she knows how bad a listener I am. And she goes, it was a compliment about how I'm getting better. But I work at it. It's not easy. We all want to, as we're listening to somebody, we're all thinking, hey, what am I going to say next? Instead of listen. That's hard. Listening is hard. But when somebody is angry and somebody is being difficult, and it's funny because in the last 2 days, I've had two people, I love them both, but they needed someone to listen. And they were being difficult. And that was after I decided to talk about this. And I had to really do everything I could to just listen, even though I didn't want to. I didn't want to. They were just being difficult. But hey, because sometimes when we're teaching or coaching, we need the other person to listen. And that's where it gets tough. It gets tough because, it takes that, the velvet glove, approach, because you don't want to just punch him. You want to hit him gently with the velvet glove. But listening cures a lot of that. Just listening. It seems simple, but it's number one because it's so important, but it's hard. It's hard to do. The second thing that I think is important is, and again, and I'm using myself as an example because it's so fresh in my mind, the last two nights. The first one was kind of simple and silly. The person was just being silly. He wasn't trying to be too difficult, but he was just being silly. And, but stay calm. Yeah. Stay calm. Look, it's not about you. Quit making it this about you. When we make it about ourselves, we don't stay calm. We get offended. Let them talk. Listen to them. Let them tell funny jokes. Whatever they want to do. That's their way of diffusing or getting attention. Whatever they're trying to do. But you're not going to learn anything if you don't listen. And you're definitely not going to learn anything if you don't stay calm. You're going to make the situation worse. And some of my other points will kind of interwove with that concept. But stay calm. Stay calm, and you will be surprised how fast that you can diffuse the situation. Because a lot of times people get riled up because they want to make a point, or they want to be listened to, or they want to vent, or they're just angry, or something else has happened in their life. We don't know. So you're not going to know if you don't listen, and you're not, and if you don't stay calm, you're going to escalate it, make things worse. So stay calm. Stay calm. That's all. All right. Now, the next thing, another big point. Don't judge anybody. You know, I'm a big believer that judgment is poison. And we have become so judgmental in our country. I mean, probably around the world. We have become so judgmental. And look, we don't know what the other person's going through. We don't. We might think we do, but we don't. And we're not going to know if we don't listen. And we're certainly not going to know if you make it worse. So don't judge. Listen, even if you think it's craziness, look, one of the main things that individuals want from other individuals is to be understood. To be understood. And if we don't feel we're being understood, then we will either click and move on, or we'll get angry or angrier. But if you make it a point because of listening and not judging, there's a good chance that you can better understand the other person. Now, important point here. You don't understand somebody to agree with them. Now, if that's what they're trying to do, then they're trying to get their way. And that's no different than you trying to get your way. So, and we'll get to that point too. But you don't listen, stay calm, and stop judging to better understand them, to agree with them. You just want to understand it. And believe me, 99.9% of individuals out there just want to be understood. It's just like that. They want to be understood. Okay. My fourth point is respect. If you don't belittle the other person, don't belittle them. They're a human being. Just love them. I mean, if you go in there with the attitude, I just love this person. I love them. Okay. And they're going, and you just love them. You're just listening. You're not judging them. You're trying to help them. You're trying to better understand them. And you love them. You respect them. Show them respect. Belittling somebody, even if they're you're a manager and they're one of your guys or one of your ladies on the team, and you pull out the old I'm in charge card, it's not good, because people will leave. People will leave if they feel they're being disrespected. They will. They want to be heard. That's all. And you'd be surprised how many people, once they know somebody understands them, oh my God, they'll be on your team. They'll be all in on you. They'll be all in on you. Just respect them. Show them respect, courtesy, all that good stuff. My fifth thing I said is, at some point, if you can stay calm, get them calm, get everybody's calm, you can get to start to help, which is, what do they really want? What do they really want in what they're saying to you? What's really going on in the relationship? What do they really want? It could be they really want to be heard. They could be they really want to be understood. They want love. I don't know what it is. You don't know what it is, and if you do, then why aren't you doing it? Unless it's compromising your values. But if you don't know what they want, at some point you got to figure out what they want. Okay, and that's big, because once you know what they really want, man, oh man, does it really make your job a lot easier. But you got to know what they want. So, number 5 is a biggie. What do they really want? And again, whether it's an intimate relationship, personal, kids, you're a manager, you're a colleague, you're on a team, doesn't matter. You got to find out. People, we have to be better at understanding what the other person really wants, because it makes a big difference. And that's the reason that they're being difficult. And if you want to kind of smooth over the difficult edges of somebody, it might help to know what they really want. All right. Look at my clock. My next thing I wrote down was look for help. Look, if you're on a team and somebody's being difficult, you may look around and say, hey, look, hey, Mary does really well when Jimmy gets upset and they seem to hang out. She may understand. So you may want to say, hey, Mary, can I talk to you for a second? And get her perspective of what's going on. You may even want to bring him into the meeting and say, hey, Jim, I brought Mary in here. I thought she might be able to help to better clarify what you're looking for. Sometimes it's in a personal relationship. Maybe it's a counselor. Maybe it's a pastor or priest or somebody in that respect. Or maybe it's, like I said, a counselor or friend that can help to keep the situation calm, to remind each other to listen, and to kind of act as somewhat of a referee, so there is no judgment going on, and that we're respecting each other. See how it kind of all ties together here? And this is important. These are important things to remember when dealing with difficult people, because difficult people are difficult, right? They're difficult. So unless you just don't want to deal with them, which is fine too. Look, I'm all about surrounding yourself with people that you only want to be around. Unless you can't. You can't fire your family. And some of the most difficult people that we have in our lives are our own families. Am I right about that? I know I am, and I know you know that I am. And so how many people, I was just listening to something today, are in a real pickle, a real conundrum because of their own family? I mean, I hear it all the time. I don't want to deal with that person. I don't want to talk to them. They did that. I don't want to hear it. Why are they doing this again? I don't want to, on and on and on. So number 6 is look for help that you can bring into the situation to help you. All right. So we've gotten through our first 6. We'll keep rolling here. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back and learn more about dealing with difficult people. All right, we are back, and we'd gone through our first 6. So my 7th point was we have to be careful that we don't put demands on the other person. It reminds me of what I teach, what I call the 3 levels of love. Level 3, which is the bottom, is demand. You know, in some cultures, you are demanded that you love the other person. Well, there's not a lot of passion that goes along with that. You know, when you have to love them, holy smokes, that's not what we're looking for here. So demand is not the one that inspires you to do things, okay? Because the second level of love is what I call horse trading, which means there is some, if you do this for me, I'll do that for you thing, which is most people. And then the highest level of love is unconditional love. And truly, if you're trying to build great relationships at home, at work, wherever you might be with your kids, it's all about unconditional love. And it is so hard to do. It sounds good. It's a great poster. Everybody's talking about it. You know, everybody on social media, oh, unconditional love. Until it comes down to it, then you don't do it. Because you put conditions on people. And as soon as you put a condition on somebody or on love, the other person knows. They do. And they may go along with it for a while because we all want to be loved. Number one fear in the world. I want to be loved. So we go along with it until we don't. So we don't. So dealing with difficult people means you don't put a lot of conditions on them. You don't put demands on them. You just love them. And you understand them. And you listen to them. And you'd be surprised how you can bring that tension down. It really does work. Absolutely works if you work it. So my next point is, this was kind of an interesting one. I found this. I was kind of playing around with it because we all don't when you're with a difficult person and you have pretty good people skills, don't you just want to say, "Oh, I understand, I understand, I understand," and the other person that you're saying that to goes, "You are so full of BS. It's driving me crazy," because they don't want you to say anything. They don't want you to say, "I understand." They want you to listen. Because if you're saying, "I understand," you're not listening. But what you may want to try, a little secret weapon here, tell me more. Tell me more. Wow, tell me more. I want to know more. Believe me, what are people's number one topic? Themselves. They're going to tell you they got books. They got books ready to tell you. Tell me more. And what does that do? Look, it helps to diffuse the situation, calm things down, let people get things off their chest. And you get to learn about what they want. It does a lot more than you would imagine. Tell me more. Instead of cutting them off, saying, "Oh, I understand. Oh, I understand." It's just like to me this morning. I mean, I cut the guy off, but we were doing something, and I needed him to kind of keep going. But at the same time, I wanted to hear him, and that's why I let him finish. But it's like I cut him off kind of at the pass, knowing what, look, I respect you too much to watch you make a fool of yourself. And as a coach, I took that road for myself. I said, look, he's coming here. He's paying me to do some stuff. And he kind of shared with me what he wanted. And I said, no. Okay. But I had to listen first to get to that point. And then I just jumped in. You may not want to do that, but you have to know what they want. And you have to build rapport too. You have to build trust. Number 9. Sometimes if you sit there when somebody's really angry and they're letting you have it, or they're letting you have it about something, and you're sitting there going, and you're smiling because, everybody says, smile, make people happy. No. They're going to think you're being a jerk. They're going to think you're making fun of them. They're going to think all kind of weird thoughts. Just listen. Just sit there and be stoic. Maybe nod your head here and there, or whatever, if you're listening, whatever fits. Just let them know you're listening. And being there is 99% of it. Just being there. I mean, you know how that feels. Put yourself in their shoes. Okay? Put yourself in their shoes. So don't give some phony baloney smile. Because if you're like me and someone's going off, I don't want to smile. So a lot of times I want it to be over with so I can move on. Unless it involves me. But don't sit there and make them feel uncomfortable. They're going to think that you're being a jerk. All right. Number 10. Don't be defensive. Good grief. It's about them, not about you. If you get your feelings hurt, stop it. Quit being so doggone sensitive. Now, if they're attacking you, we'll get to that here in a minute. That's different. But if you're not being attacked and you make the choice to listen, then listen. Don't, like today, I was borderline when I cut this gentleman off because I didn't want him to be taken advantage of. Now, if I would have said, well, I don't like that when people say that about me, but I was close because I said I did inject myself. I said, well, I stopped doing that because I knew I wasn't going to be able to convince them. And I was just wearing myself out. And, quote, I don't want to see you do that to yourself. But he kind of didn't want to hear that. He wanted me to just to hear what he had to say. And that's okay. See what I'm saying? If I'm not doing a good job listening, then I don't hear what he wants to say or she wants to say. So then you don't know what they want. So don't be defensive. Don't take it personally unless they are attacking you. Then you got to kind of, which we'll get to here. I got some points. I tried to put this stuff down and keep it organized. Okay. Number 11, don't return the anger. So if you do get attacked or they're getting angry with life, you don't need to do that. You don't need to escalate your voice. You don't need to start attacking people. Yeah, that dirty, you know what? I want to kick him too. I want to, toss him out the window or no. It's not your time. It's not your time. You're not after a pig pile here. You're just after listening and understanding and loving so you can help somebody or not. And you might be helping them just by listening. A lot of times you are. Number 12. Oh, don't what I don't want you to do is get into a wrestling match with people. Where things kind of keep going back and forth. You've now injected yourself into their situation. Unless it is about you, then we might be having another conversation. But if it's not about you and they just something's not right, or the conversation's not right, and they're looking for someone to listen to them, or you've asked them to do something and they can't get it done because they've got all these things going on in their head, and as their manager, boss, whatever you might be, and you're trying to get them to get back to work, or you're in your own relationship and maybe something's not going on with the kids or family members or whatever it might be, you can't make this about you, and then it goes back and forth, and that just gets people tired. That just gets people tired. You're just going back and forth. It's a wrestling match. It's not worth it. Another good point too, if somebody comes to you and they're angry or ripping, as they say, you might want to keep some space. That's why in the old days, your office, you might have your desk and the other person sits on the other end of the desk and they share their grievances or their story or whatever it might be. But if you're like me and you want to give everybody a hug, you come around the desk and you start hugging somebody, they may get offended. They're not in there for a hug. They're in there to rip or to let things off there, let some steam off. So don't get caught up in that. Don't get caught up in that. So keep your space. Be the professional. Be the professional. Okay? And that means your intimate relationships too. Let the other person have their say. And you can only do that if you give them some space. Because if you're in there, huggy, and it's going to make it harder for them, and they're going to feel resentment, that feeling that you're trying to manipulate them because you didn't give them the space they needed to say what they wanted to say. I mean, this is just simple, crazy, easy, yet hard stuff. Give them space, okay? Yeah. I think it's important, number 13, Number 14. I think it's important to ask for forgiveness, say you're sorry, and in a genuine way, say, look, I'm going to do better. I'm going to work at it. Let's say you're the manager. They come to you. They've got issues with what's going on. Maybe it's the way you talk to them or something happened, whatever it might be. And so maybe it's that you need to talk to somebody else. Hey, look, I'm going to do better. I'm going to go have a chat with that person. We're going to talk about it. And we're going to work on this. People need to hear that. People need to hear that. And you might want to say, hey, look, I'm really sorry that this got to this point. I wish you would have came earlier. I would have taken care of it. But they need to know that there's some genuine emotion there from you, that you're going to take care of it, that you feel bad about it. That helps. That helps. Again, remember, people are just looking for, many times they're looking for a reaction. Does this person care? Because no one's going to care until they know how much you care. And if they know that you really genuinely care about them and their situation, they're going to care more about the situation. So just remember that. People look, people are fragile. I was thinking that today. I'm using this person as a kind of a model right now, but I was thinking to myself, because he's older, super knowledgeable, and I kept telling myself, and look, we've all been there. I'm not saying anything that I'm not. I thought, man, he is very fragile today. Because he allowed other people to kind of knock him off his space. And because he was trying to make his point, and they didn't listen, and he felt offended by it. But aren't we all? I mean, we're just fragile people. We're fragile. We really are. And because I'll be honest with you, if he was sitting there right there, right now, we'd be laughing right now how silly this whole thing was to even get to that point. But we let ourselves, and it's okay to be vulnerable, but when we're fragile, because people are fragile, they are sensitive and they can fall apart very easily. And so your job as a people person and someone who's knowledgeable is to help them to kind of keep it together. That's the whole stay calm thing. And they need you for that. Because two people going crazy is a mess. One person staying calm can help. Okay? I'm going to kind of run through the last couple here that I wrote. We've been talking a lot about boundaries without saying boundaries, but we need boundaries. You can't just let someone totally go off on you, especially if it's not about you. If you just let them go off on you, you're going to make things worse. You can't let them make derogatory comments. You can't. It won't work. There's got to be some boundaries here, and you can't just. Obviously, we want to keep space because we don't want to put our hands on other people, but at the same time, there has to be boundaries. They can't be disrespectful. You're being respectful. They can't be disrespectful. And a lot of times we allow that because we just are letting people go. And that's okay. But you got to understand what you're setting yourself up for. You're allowing them to be disrespectful. You're allowing them to do things that normally you wouldn't put up with anybody. So the thing about that is that the next time this goes down, it could happen again. And that's on you because you allowed it. So show some boundaries. Go with your gut. Number 16, a lot of times if this is not going well, and maybe it's time to move on, take a break, maybe wait another day, end it. Hey, look, You can't solve everything. I can't solve everything. And sometimes you just need a break to catch your breath and come back and with a fresh mindset as well. Yeah, everybody's different. Don't forget that. It's important. You can't treat everybody the same way. Some people may respond to loving kindness more than other people. Some people need a hug. Some people need a kick in the fanny. Some people just want you. They don't want anything except listening. We don't know. You don't know until you know. And that takes everything we've talked about here in the first 17 steps. It takes you listening. It takes you understanding. It takes you staying calm. It takes you all these things we talked about. And when you're doing all these things, now you have a chance to make some progress here. Now, at this point, let's say you've done everything you could. You've done your best. You've listened. You've maybe even given some advice, or you've taken care of it for yourself because it involves you. I think you need to go to somebody and just kind of diffuse. Man, that was a tough one. Whew. I'm glad I got that over with. Man, it was tough because I had to do this. You need to have a place to go and kind of go over it so you can learn from it too. So you can learn from this situation as well. When you're dealing with tough people are tough. Difficult people are difficult. So going to somebody to get a little feedback is helpful as well. Also, you need to have some space to kind of unwind as well. You know, maybe not even somebody that can help you to evaluate, but maybe somebody to help you to just listen to you. Maybe you want to get all this off your chest, especially if you really got involved and ready to listen. And or maybe it's going for a walk, going to work, going to the gym, going for a bike ride. I don't know. Go play golf. Whatever you want to do to kind of take your mind off of it, I think it helps. Because if you're not releasing your stress, I think at some point you're going to run into problems. So you got to release your stress as well. And then the last point that I wrote down here is love yourself. You did your best. And be okay with that. You know, none of us is perfect. As they say, perfect is the enemy of good. So you're not going to be perfect. You're not going to bat 1,000 on this. You're going to make mistakes. Some people in your life may just quit. And that's okay. As long as you did your best. And which means that you need to love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, then you can't give love. You can't give what you don't have. Some people do, but they're doing it for a reason. They're doing it for love. They're doing it with conditions. And when you get to that point in your life where you don't have to do that anymore, and because you just love yourself and you nurture yourself, you take care of yourself, you eat well, you get rest, you do all the things you need to do, it really makes a big difference in your life. All right, guys, this is Coach Arnie with GoingSoloMedia.com and the Health, Love, and Life and Adventure Show. There's my phone number. I'd love to talk to you. And, try some of these things. If you're dealing with difficult people, give it a whirl. I think you'll be surprised. This stuff works if you work at it. But remember, it takes two to tango. So if you're someone that likes to tango, well, then deal with the consequences. But if you're not, then, let's see how good your people skills can get. And you can diffuse the situation and make things better. All right, guys. Until next time, this is Coach Arnie, and I'll see you later.